The crisis we have, the challenge that confronts us is a crisis of leadership. And I want to say that, and it's consistent with the theme that the Cardinal said on Sunday, Father Estrada said right now, is what we have in this country, and I'll be more specific about California, what we have is a crisis of leadership. We do not have a crisis of capacity in this state. And so, because we have a crisis of leadership, we are not addressing the real problems that confront us as a society. So, for example, in California, California is the 5th largest economy of the world. And I'll say that repeatedly. California is the 5th largest economy of the world. What does that mean? That means every day 217 other nations of the world get up, their leaders try to organize them and extol them and excite them and agitate them to be more productive, to be more efficient, to be more effective, so that they can be what? So that they can be like California. So that they can have the resources to share amongst the people of their states and their countries to meet the conditions that we live here in California. And so we have, for example, the finest university system probably in the world, public university system, a great state university system, a great community college system. We have great highways. You know, as I do international work, I talk to other people and lament that we don't have enough airports and waterways. And the mayor was here yesterday, and we talk about our need to produce commerce. And when I talk to other people, representatives from other countries, they marvel at what we have. They wish they had the number of airports we had, the number of waterways, the type of infrastructure we have. And so what's happened is that we have been living for decades off the vision of other leaders. That great generation that came out in the post-World War II period, the great leaders like Pat Brown, who made an investment in technology and in education that went beyond what we could even imagine. I mean, think of Pat Brown thinking about a master plan for education before we had computers, before we had internet, before we had cell phones, before we had all the technology that we take as a matter of course every day. We had leaders who thought we're going to make these investments. And they made these investments independent of who was going to benefit from them. They didn't care about the demographics of the state. They didn't care about the trends. They cared about their vision for the future and for all Californians, for all Americans. And then what happened is we stopped making those investments. We stopped having leaders who made those types of commitments. And so we've had an erosion of our society. Our schools are no longer the best schools in America. Our infrastructure is no longer the best infrastructure in America. Our hospitals no longer care for all Californians. We don't have health care for millions and millions of Americans. We don't have health care for millions and millions of Californians. And so what happens is that obviously the working class, the middle class, wonder, why don't we have access to this? Why am I working harder and longer and having less? And so they begin to want to know, why is that? And so the crisis we have is that we have political leaders who are unwilling to say that we don't make those investments. And what happens is we have people and an infrastructure that is looking to blame someone. And so they're blaming immigrants. Immigrants are the scapegoat. Immigrants are a political ploy. Immigrants and the anti-immigrant hysteria is simply a political wedge issue. And it's utilized for people who are unwilling to say, we don't want to meet the real challenges that confront America.